Wait, don't blink. You might miss it. Because something is happening in Bitcoin right now, and almost no one is reacting the way they should. Not yet. Cathie Wood isn't warning about a normal move. She's hinting at a moment where the market turns so fast it traps people outside. And by the time it feels obvious, it's already too late. Right now, it's quiet. Almost too quiet. Like nothing's happening. But that's usually when the biggest shifts begin. Underneath the surface. Out of sight. And then, without warning, everything changes. The kind of change that doesn't invite you in. It forces you to chase. So the real question is, what exactly is building right now that nobody is prepared for? Listen closely.
We have all kinds of metrics, but when I was at Abundance, the forecast was, our bull case was $1.5 million in 5 years. So that would have been 2027. We still have time. And we still think that's going to be right. If you just look at the institutional push into Bitcoin, this new asset class, they have to consider it as fiduciaries. When you use those code words, new asset class, what it means, the correlation of these returns are very low compared to those of other assets. And so they have to consider it. Now, what are we saying? There are 19.6 million Bitcoin out there right now, and the highest it will ever go is 21 million. Okay, there's real scarcity value. And what is going to happen? The price increase for every institutional dollar pushing in now is going to be much higher than it was last year, 2 years ago. It's, we're going to get into, if these institutions really want to own it, what I found fascinating recently, just learned it this morning, is typically when you go through a price move, a Bitcoin price move to the upside, you usually see long-term holders, which is a metric we monitor. It's an on-chain analytics metric. And it means people who have not moved, or wallets that have not moved their Bitcoin in 155 days or more. Yes. Well, normally when you go through a price move to the upside, a very nice one like we've seen in the last year, that tends to start moving down. And it did that, true to form, but it has reversed in recent days. It's going back up again as the price goes up. That's highly unusual. And I think it is because the long-term holder is saying, why would I sell now when I know all these institutions, which own nothing in this realm, in this new asset class, they have to consider it because it is a new asset class.
Wait a minute. Is Cathie Wood really right about Bitcoin going that far, that fast? Even she admits this isn't certainty, it's conviction under pressure. Because on the surface, the case looks strong. Rising geopolitical tension, ballooning global debt, institutions quietly accumulating, currencies losing purchasing power. All of it points in one direction. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Markets don't reward what's obvious. They punish consensus before they validate it. Some analysts argue this cycle is different, that institutional flows could compress timelines and push Bitcoin into territory we've never seen before. Others warn that macro shocks, regulation, or liquidity crunches could delay everything. And that tension, that disagreement, is exactly where opportunity lives. Because if even a fraction of these tailwinds collide at the same time, the move won't feel logical. It'll feel violent. The kind that forces belief after the fact. So the real question isn't whether Bitcoin can reach those levels. It's whether the setup forming right now is already in motion. Let's hear exactly how she breaks this down.
Your price target for Bitcoin is bull case north of 1 million US dollars. So if you had that bull case for more than 1 million USD Bitcoin, has your forecast timeline to reach that price now shortened?
Yes, that target, what we evolved in, it was before the SEC gave us the green light. And I think that was a major milestone, and it has pulled forward the timeline. One thing I will say, right now, no wirehouse, so whether we're talking about Morgan Stanley or Merrill Lynch, B of A, or UBS or Wells Fargo, no platform has approved Bitcoin yet. So all of this price action has happened before they approve it. And so, we haven't even begun.
So what's your timeline for 1 million USD Bitcoin now? And is there perhaps a price target beyond that now?
Yes, our target is above that. We've got a 2030 target. So it's well above that. And with our new expectations for institutional involvement, the incremental price that we assume for institutions actually has more than doubled. So, I don't want to give out any particular prices, but because we don't know how quickly the more independent registered investment advisors in the United States, those platforms are saying, give us 3 months to do our due diligence. The others are saying we need at least 6 months. So, I would put those in the institutional bucket as well.
But in your view, Cathie, all of the factors are moving the price of this in an upwards trajectory.
Yes, indeed.
Bitcoin is quietly pulling ahead of gold. But here's the part no one wants to talk about. While gold shocked the world, surging to record highs near $5,600 before violently dropping to $4,400, it may have revealed something deeper about where capital is actually flowing. That kind of move isn't just volatility, it's stress in the system. And when traditional safe havens start behaving unpredictably, smart money starts looking elsewhere. Now, Bitcoin rising against that backdrop feels bullish, but it's not that simple. Some argue this is the beginning of a massive rotation, possibly influenced by macro forces like China shifting reserves and global liquidity tightening. Others say it's just another cycle illusion before a reset. So here's the tension. Is Bitcoin truly emerging as the next global store of value? Or is it just reacting to temporary weakness in gold? Because if this shift is real, it changes everything. And if it's not, most people are about to misread the biggest signal of this cycle. Let's hear what Cathie Wood sees that the market might still be underestimating.
Bitcoin is starting to outperform gold again. Gold peaked January 28th, the day that Warsh was announced as the next Fed chairman, if Congress approves him. And he is slightly hawkish. So Bitcoin has been moving up relative to gold. That's interesting. And then just the last two or three charts here. This one is still a puzzle. Why is that green line, metals to gold, still going down? Is it China? Is something really wrong in China? I don't know if it's just China, but it is puzzling, especially now that the gold price has gone down from nearly, I think it was almost, was it $5,600 down to $4,400. We haven't seen a clear turn in this variable, which is quite interesting. It used to correlate very well with the 10-year Treasury yield, which you see in purple there. They parted ways in 22 when the Fed started tightening, and I would say when central banks started buying gold and selling dollars. And again, the yen carry trade unwinding starting in the summer of 24. So all of those should be in there now. And my guess is that the 10-year Treasury yield is probably going to fall because we've had a lot of major forces pushing it up, not the least of which has been the recent flare-up in commodity prices. If we're right and the supply side of the economy is coming to the rescue, we're probably going to be surprised at interest rates coming down as opposed to going up. And final chart here, final two charts here, credit default swaps on banks. Private credit, is this infecting, is it going to be a systemic issue? This chart would suggest no, it's not backing up into the banking system. And this is the high yield chart, so junk bonds relative to treasuries. They're not seeing anything on the horizon bothersome. In fact, they're near all-time lows. So these last two charts would say nothing to worry about. We know there's a lot to worry about. The market has gone through a bout of volatility here. But if we're right that there's a boom, that inflation is going to resolve to the downside after this conflict passes, and that profitability is going to increase, we think that's very positive for the equity markets.
So could Bitcoin really reach over $1 million by 2030? It sounds extreme, almost unrealistic. But then again, so did everything Bitcoin has already done. Voices like Cathie Wood point to a convergence of forces: monetary instability, institutional flows, and shifting trust in traditional systems that could accelerate price in ways most people aren't prepared for. But the other side of that argument matters too. Markets don't move in straight lines. Liquidity tightens, cycles reset, and narratives change when pressure builds. That's where the tension lives, not in certainty, but in possibility. Because if panic buying ever does arrive, it won't feel like opportunity. It will feel like urgency, even fear. And if it doesn't, the slow accumulation phase might quietly reward those paying attention. One thing remains clear: Bitcoin has carved out its place as a global asset, accessible to anyone, anywhere. And maybe that's the real story. Not just how high it can go, but who chooses to understand it before the world catches up. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more Bitcoin and crypto insights. I would see you in the next one.